I'd like to talk to you about a question that I have received immensely over the last probably 3 weeks by so many of you that I figured I had to do a video to reach out to you. Oftentimes, a betrayed spouse feels this kind of helpless rage because you want your unfaithful spouse to talk about the affair, but they won't. It is rage because you so desperately want to heal and need to talk about it. And if you don't talk about it, you feel like you're going to explode. But it's a helplessness because it's a feeling of, I'm kind of at the mercy of this one person, male or female, who won't tell me what I need to know. And so you feel like you are at this impasse that's excruciating, that's lonely, that is helpless, that oftentimes produces not just a rage, but an anger that goes in many directions. Certainly at the unfaithful spouse, if you come from faith, it's normal to feel an anger towards God. If you don't come from faith, it's a normal sense of almost despising yourself sometimes for allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling. And it's kind of like it turns inward to a self-hatred or a depression or a sense of just anger that you're even in this position. And I just want to tell you, when an unfaithful spouse is unwilling to give you information, it's normal to feel everything that I just laid out and everything else. From fear to anger to discouragement and hopelessness to rage, it's all very normal. Now, you do have a choice in how you respond to a certain extent. However, please don't despise yourself. Please don't hate yourself at the emotions that you're feeling. Get help. Reach out for expert support. Try and find ways to experience a sense of peace and calm outside of that frustration that you're feeling. Because you have to be the one that takes action to find a sense of peace, even though you don't know information that you feel like, if you don't know it, your world is going to crumble. I want to talk to both spouses, unfaithful and betrayed, today. I want to lay out some reasons why the unfaithful is choosing not to give you information or details about their affair, indiscretions, addictions, or what have you. This is not just for the betrayed, this is also for the unfaithful. There's going to be some opportunities to be offended, as there almost always is. I hope and pray that you are not. There's going to be opportunity for you to disagree, as is the case with every single video blog. Take the best, leave the rest. I hope that this gives you some understanding as to why the unfaithful may not be giving you details. And this video will not be exhaustive because it will be so long if I try and cover every single reason. But here are some of the bigger bookends on why the unfaithful will not give you details about their affair. Incidentally, before I give you the reasons why an unfaithful may not tell you the details, I want to appeal to you unfaithful spouses. One of the most courageous, sacrificial, loving things that you can do is give your betrayed spouse information and details of the affair. I'll talk more about levels of details and what's appropriate and what's not, but alternatively, one of the most selfish things that you could do is refuse to give your betrayed spouse the details of your affair. It's enough that you've betrayed them, and I have done it too, so please don't feel any shame from me. But you've already betrayed them and ripped their heart out and ripped the rug out from underneath them. Do not make it worse. Do not take the rug from them forever. You can put that rug back down, unroll it, and really try and create safety for them. To not give them information holds them in a prison of darkness where it's like they're trying to put a jigsaw puzzle together with all the lights off. They don't know what's happened. They don't know where it happened. They don't understand. This is a private life that you may have been locked in for weeks, months, years, and in some cases decades. To not give them that information in many ways holds them in a prison where they feel like they can't heal. So if you're experiencing incredible rage, or maybe they've completely turned off communication with you, it's not because they're trying to shame you and make you live under their thumb for the rest of their life and your life. It's not that they hate you only. It's that they are trying to heal, and they probably have shut down because they cannot live in this prison of darkness where they don't know the details. One of the reasons we unfaithful don't want to share the details is immense shame. When we feel shame inside of us, we want to shut down. We don't want to keep that conversation going. You see, conviction or guilt says I've done something wrong. Shame says I am something wrong. When we feel shame or our shame is triggered, we shut down. We don't want to feel this uncomfortability at talking about our grossest failure. Now, you as a betrayed may say, look, get over yourself. Come on, move on. You've hurt me now. You need to own it. It's just not that simple. We feel this sense of incredible self-hatred or even selfishness because we're more concerned about what we're feeling, having to relive our greatest failures, than what you are feeling as a betrayed spouse who we are not really in touch with the fact that your world has been shattered. We're more focused, at least in number one, on the shattering of our own image and our pride and having to own what we have done. Number two, and this has the opportunity to maybe cause you, betrayed, to be triggered or flood or be led in a direction emotionally. So take a deep breath, maybe hold onto your chair or your pillow, wherever you're at. If you're driving, kind of have a breathe out moment. There may be more information that you don't know. And the unfaithful doesn't want to talk about it, because if they start to talk about it, they're going to have to put all the pieces back together exactly how they told you the first time. And they're not confident that they can do that. And they're terrified that they have to retrace their steps and they're going to fail. And then it's going to create this, oh crap, moment where now they can't keep the story intact. And so they're going to feel this incredible stress and anger when you want to talk about it. And so they retract, pull back, and don't want to have that conversation. A follow-up to that same reason is there is a belief by many unfaithful, I don't know that I would say all, but I would say a majority of unfaithful believe about the betrayed that if you, the betrayed, know all there is to know, you are done. You won't give them a chance at redemption, and that they have convinced themselves if you know this or that or these details, you will be done. And so they don't want to tell you everything because they are convinced that if you know everything, that you won't give them a chance at restoration. So pragmatically, it doesn't make sense for them to tell you everything, because they are simply, in this case, where they're refusing to tell you the details, they're just trying to maybe save the marriage or keep things together. They're not really 100% committed to getting healthy. And so in this scenario, what's important is for you, the betrayed, and I know you're going to go, wait a minute here, they're refusing to tell me the information. Why do I need to do anything? Well, if you want to get to the information, you're going to have to consider doing this, which is having a clause that says there are no deal breakers. I will take your information, I will digest it, I will absorb it, and I will at least wait 3 to 4 days before I make any decisions about what you're going to tell me. Because why would they want to give you this crucial piece of information, like the name of an affair partner or the restaurant or this or that? Because maybe you have been under some sense of suspicion that you knew about this or you knew about that, and you had actually said to them, or maybe you haven't said it. Maybe you've just communicated in action that if they've done X, Y, or Z, you're done, it's over, forget it. Well, they're not going to want to tell you that information. Again, I can hear you as a betrayed go, Samuel, look, I really like you. I don't know that I love you. I kind of like you, and I'm about ready to reach through the camera and slap you and tell you that you're missing it. They should have the understanding they have diabolically destroyed my life. They need to tell me all the information. Who cares if there's a deal breaker? I get that line of reasoning. I'm trying to help you understand, though, that you will not get full disclosure with a deal breaker or a blow your head off mentality. What that is tell me the information, tell me the information, tell me the information, and then the unfaithful discloses the information, and then you blow their head off with shame or rage or anger, and they say to themselves, well, I'll never do that again. And so that's why in some cases it's vital to have an expert third party there to manage the situation, create safety, and remove the opportunity for all kinds of collateral damage when you're just trying to get all the information. Another reason why the unfaithful may not disclose the information is they may come from this kind of domineering worldview that simply says, look, I've cheated. You don't need to know the information. I've been forgiven by God or forgiven by whatever worldview that they subscribe to, and so you just need to deal with it and move on. It's very challenging, and it's very, in many ways, demeaning to the betrayed spouse and does not provide a lot of dignity to them as a person and as a valuable member of the family. Another reason why the unfaithful may not be giving you details is they may not remember before you hit that point where you go, oh my gosh, Samuel, I'm going to stab you because my spouse continues to say, I don't remember, I don't remember. Let me lay out some ground rules for you. It's completely understandable that they may not remember exactly when they started texting their affair partner. It's understandable they may not remember exactly when it became physical, but there should be general guidelines about when things became physical or about when things started to take off. If the affair was a long period of time, they may not remember exactly some dates. They should be able to give you a general understanding. But for those that are just using the I don't remember clause, unfortunately, that only is hurting you more and is somewhat absurd. There are situations where there's been longer affairs, I would say a year to, unfortunately, 10 years, where you may not remember everything as an unfaithful spouse. And in those cases, there has to be a clause and a heart to want to remember. And when the unfaithful remembers, there should be a clause for them to come back and say, you know, I've been thinking and I remember this or that. And there should be the no deal breaker clause and no blow your head off clause, but there should be that freedom for the unfaithful to come back and not drip feed you. That's a whole different story. But to be able to come back and say, well, I do remember we did go here, or we did go maybe there. There can be a freedom to have them with a heart of gracious humility to say, I don't remember, but I'm going to try to remember. And listen, you know as well as I do when they're just using the clause like a blackjack dealer, I don't remember, I don't remember, I don't remember, I don't remember. That's absurd. I can't prevent that from happening when an unfaithful's heart is resistant to the process of recovery. Finally, and this is maybe the toughest for the betrayed to hear, and it's the most delicate for the unfaithful to speak to, so I will do it for you. The process has to be safe. If the unfaithful is going to give you information, there has to be a commitment on your side as the betrayed to make the process safe. And I'll be very practical. To not throw things, to not get physical, to not shame them, to not harass them. There has to be a commitment to find a safe place, maybe even a safe third party, for you to digest the information. And so an unfaithful may feel like it's unsafe. And again, for the small minutia of unfaithful that would say, well, it's just not safe. It's just not safe. You're showing emotion. You're crying. That's not safe. You know, you're angry. That's not safe. That's absurd. Any betrayed spouse is going to cry maybe be angry, be sad, have their world just completely shell-shocked. So it isn't this, well, it's unsafe because you're merely showing emotion. Lack of safety means there's harassment, potential violence, maybe physicality, yelling and screaming, rage. That's not going to help either of you. So if the situation is unsafe, I'm sorry to tell you, but betrayed spouse, you're not going to probably get the information that you want. For many that don't get the information, it's like a hit and run accident. It's like the unfaithful spouse has hit them and taken off, and you feel this sense of abandonment, injustice, and it's like you're trying to heal. And if you don't get that information, it is incredibly difficult. But if you're a betrayed spouse, I think you have to ask yourself two questions. And this comes right from Cindy Beale, who's a very popular author, who is a betrayed spouse herself. You have to ask yourself, why do I need this information, and will it help me heal? Or will it just make me feel like more of a fool because of what my unfaithful spouse has done? So ask yourself, as you're trying to get to ground zero, which usually takes in the neighborhood, hopefully it should take somewhere between maybe 3 to as much as 6 or 7 weeks, where there's just, questioning and kind of readdressing and trying to make sure of the information being a full sense of ground zero. But as you feel led as a betrayed to ask questions, why do you need to know the information? Will it help you heal? Because there is a point where too much information is going to be harmful. But I don't know your situation, and every situation is different. But these are some of the reasons why the unfaithful refuses to tell you the details of their affair.